Hi, crafties, and welcome to Weekend Crafting Adventures. I'm Kim, and this week I am using my Cricut Maker to cut some tissue paper that I am going to decoupage onto some glass canisters with Mod Podge. So let me tell you about the inspiration behind this project. My husband's birthday's coming up, and we really enjoy going to happy hour together. So I thought it would be fun to create some infused vodka with some different fun flavors and create a little bit of a tasting happy hour for his birthday. And of course, what I wanted to create for this project were some really cool glass canisters that kind of are spring colors, but colors that match the infused vodka flavors that I'm creating so that we can do a little tasting on his birthday. And so I have the flavors that I am infusing with the vodka. I'm going to do 4 different flavors. I'm going to do a raspberry lime infused vodka, a blackberry, and then I was going to do a pineapple jalapeno, but after doing research on the infused vodka process, everything that I read said that the jalapeno really spices up the vodka fast, and the pineapple may need 1 to 2 days or a little bit longer. So instead of doing them together, I'm doing 1 pineapple infused vodka and 1 jalapeno infused vodka. That way I really can measure the amount of the jalapeno vodka that goes into a spicy pineapple jalapeno mule. So there was one resource that I used for this project, and it was called Mod Podge Rocks. And it actually specifically talks about the process of using Mod Podge and tissue paper on glass, which is exactly what I needed. And so that is what I used. I am going to highlight a few materials, but as always, a full list of materials that I'm using will be listed on my blog post. So for the actual crafting piece of this project, which is using the Mod Podge, using glass canisters and tissue paper to create some fun ombre designs on the glass, I needed the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. And I chose that because I am going to be putting the infused vodka into these canisters. I really wanted to be able to wash them and reuse them. And after reading up on all of the different formulas of the Mod Podge, the dishwasher safe is the one that I chose for this project. I also went to my local craft store and I got 4 different glass canisters, 2 large and 2 small, that I'll be using to put the tissue paper designs on. I do need my rotary blade in my Cricut machine for this project because that is the blade that cuts the tissue paper, and my fabric mat. And the reason that I need my fabric mat is that it is the least sticky of all of the cutting mats that I have. And because the tissue paper is so delicate and fine, it's going to really need to not be stuck down too much to these cutting mats. The final material that I needed was the tissue paper. And I decided that I wanted to do some ombre designs. So kind of starting with a deeper color on the bottom of the glass canister and moving up to the top with a lighter color. I kind of wanted to match the infused vodka flavors that I was creating. So I have one that is a deep kind of orange to yellow for the pineapple, and again, some greens for the jalapeno. I'm doing a raspberry lime, but for that one, I'm just going to stick with some really bright pinks going up to a lighter shade of pink. And then for the blackberry, I'm going to kind of go off of the colors of the fruit, and I'm going to actually do more of a sunset fader to the bottle, because I envision that after we use the infused vodka, I'm going to reuse these bottles either for a different flavor or something else. So I'm going to do one that's a little bit different than just matching the flavor of the infused vodka. Okay, so the experience of this project. First of all, decoupage. I remember my mom and my grandmother doing this process using wrapping paper and different things when I was a child. But when I looked up decoupage, because I haven't done it in so long, actually, I've never really done it. I've seen my mom and my grandma do it. The definition is the art of pasting or gluing objects onto something to beautify them. So I guess for this project, I am using the tissue paper to beautify these glass canisters. But the first thing I needed to do was cut the tissue paper. So I did go onto my Cricut design space and I just picked 4 basic shapes. I'm going to be using triangles, diamonds, half circles, and ovals. And cutting out the tissue paper with the Cricut Maker was a really easy process. Using that fabric mat and the rotary blade, I got a very crisp, clean cut of the shapes, which is exactly what I wanted. Of course, you can cut them by hand, but this ensured that all of my shapes were exactly the same size for all the different colors and for all of the different designs that I would be creating with the colored tissue paper. The cutting process was easy. The weeding process, taking those little shapes off of the fabric cutting mat, worked really great. I think if I had used any other cutting mat besides the fabric cutting mat, it definitely would have ruined the tissue paper. And my fabric cutting mat is definitely not new. I have cut tons of different cardstock. I've tried to cut fabric on it. So it's definitely not very sticky, which I think was key to having the tissue paper come up without it ripping. Then I got into using the Mod Podge and the glass canister to create these ombre designs. The resource that I used gave a real quick description of how to do this process with tissue paper and glass. And in it, it said that it would not create wrinkles in the tissue paper. Well, I'm going to tell you that my experience in doing this crafting project, so far, I've done 2 out of my 4 bottles that I am creating with the ombre design, and I definitely have wrinkles in my tissue paper. I cannot seem to figure out, even with the process described in the little blog post that I read, how to ensure that the tissue paper does not wrinkle during the application process. So that was a little bit frustrating. It definitely took me a little more time than I had wanted because I kept trying to figure out different ways to get that tissue paper onto the glass with the Mod Podge without it wrinkling. But that actually didn't happen. And so my two that I have done so far are the orange to yellow ombre and the green, one for the pineapple infused vodka and one for the jalapeno infused vodka. And I actually love how they look. They look beautiful with the sun shining through them. I made sure that I left in the front of the glass canister kind of like a little open window that is not covered with the tissue paper, because I really want to be able to see the vodka and the color of it in the bottle. I love how it looks, the ombre design around the sides and framing it on the front, but I wanted that open window to really see how that vodka looks in the bottle. And then the final piece about the bottle is that I'm taking some permanent vinyl and I'm writing the label of what is inside the glass canister on the bottle. So I'm super excited about that part. That I haven't finished yet. It is a crazy weekend with a lot going on, but I really do love how the tissue paper and the Mod Podge work together to create kind of like a stained glass effect on the glass canisters. This substance is awesome. I really love it. It is easy to work with. It does a great job adhering to the glass and creating that stained glass look that I was looking for in this project. And my second crafting keeper is the fabric cutting mat for the tissue paper. I am so glad to find another use for the fabric cutting mat because in my past crafting projects, I have not had a lot of success cutting fabric on the fabric cutting mat. So it actually works out great that I have found a different material to use on this mat. So that is my second crafting keeper. And my satisCRAFTion rating for this project is a 4. I am super excited with the results of the Mod Podge and the tissue paper. I really love how it looks, and I'm so excited to get the infused vodka into these bottles. I just think it's going to look beautiful. So, for that, it's getting a 4, but because I'm not really able at this time with this crafting project to figure out how to get all of the wrinkles out of the tissue paper, and I did spend some extra time trying to figure that out. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to keep it from a 5 and keep it at a 4. But the fun factor is definitely a 5 because the process of putting the Mod Podge onto the glass and adding the tissue paper was really satisfying and fun. So I will be sharing with you all of the details of the infused vodka that I'm creating. In the blog post, I will be adding pictures and videos to the blog post on all of this project. So I hope that this inspires you to try cutting tissue paper with your Cricut Maker or your Cricut machine and get that Cricut off the shelf and get crafty. Until our next adventure, take care.
That's all for this episode of Weekend Crafting Adventures. Now go get that Cricut machine off the shelf and get crafty. For more information on this crafting project, interesting tips, tricks, and techniques, visit wcapodcast.com. Until next time when we embark on another adventure.